Welcome to Conversations Here and Now. My name is Naresh. Do red light cameras and speed cameras work? Do they work? This is what I'm looking at today. I'm going to look at both sides of the argument. I will look at the pro and the cons. And then I'll tell you what I think at the end of the video. So, first point that I'm looking at is, of course, the speed camera and the red light cameras are done for public safety, under the guise of public safety. Okay? So, the reason for having these is cameras reduce dangerous driving behaviors, okay, such as speeding, red light running, and help prevent collisions, injuries, and deaths. So that's reason number one. Reason number two, consistency of enforcement. Cameras operate 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, ensuring laws are enforced even when police are not present. Fairness and impartiality. Cameras apply rules equally to everyone, avoiding bias, profiling, or selective enforcement. There's a point to that. Really, no matter who you are, how rich, how poor, whatever you do, whatever your profession, whoever you are, you'll get the ticket, right? So that's point number three. Point number four, use of police resources. Automated enforcement frees up officers to focus on impaired, distracted, and criminal driving, not just ticketing. And again, there's an argument to that as well, of course. Officers don't have to physically stand there and catch people doing, the speeding on the roads, the red light running, etc. So they don't have to stand there and do it. These cameras can do it, and the officers can then focus on other things in the municipalities, on the roads. Number five, public trust and perception. Cameras support, each city has their own plan. They present it as a plan. For example, Toronto, they call it the Vision Zero plan, so zero fatalities and etc. So, cameras are part of that. Number six, revenue and reinvestment. Fines generate revenue that can be reinvested into road safety, transit, and infrastructure improvements. And that is true. These speeding cameras, they issue, and red light cameras, they issue lots of tickets, and that revenue can then be used for other things in the municipality. Number seven, driver behavior. Knowing cameras exist encourages drivers to slow down and be more cautious across the city. Like, obviously, when you know that there's a camera there, a red light camera or a speeding camera, you're going to want to slow down, and nobody wants the tickets, right? So it does encourage that behavior where people will slow down. They will consciously make that effort to watch the speed limits or not run a red light. Number eight, privacy and surveillance. Cameras focus on vehicles violating traffic laws, not personal surveillance. And that is true in that sense, if you look at it that way, that it's the car and the owner of the car that gets a ticket, okay? Lastly, cameras are cost effective and proven in other global cities, London, New York, Sydney, to cut collisions. And some data does show that. Data does show that motor vehicle collisions in the areas where cameras are present have gone down. Okay, so it has helped, right? So because people know these cameras are there, right? So they slow down. So they obey the laws a little bit more. Best pro argument is cameras save lives and protect vulnerable road users, children, pedestrians, and cyclists, right? So who's going to argue against that, right? So that's the argument for the cameras. Now look at the arguments against the cameras, okay? Against, number one, again, I'm going to use the same headings, okay? So public safety. Against, some evidence shows cameras reduce T-bone crashes, but increase rear end collisions. So safety outcomes are mixed. Again, yes, at the intersections where the cameras are present, people will try not to run the red light that they might at other intersections. These cameras are not present at every intersection, okay? So the places where the cameras are present, people will make a conscious effort to not run the red light. But in doing that, what a lot of people do, as soon they're speeding away, they're going towards the light, and as soon as they see it change color to red, they slam on the brakes without paying attention to how close somebody's behind them. And people drive close to each other now, right? That's another topic, but people do. And when that person hits their brakes because they don't want to get that ticket, obviously there's a good chance a rear end collision is going to happen. So that has increased. Okay. Under number 2, consistency of enforcement. Again, cameras can't use judgment or discretion. Drivers in unusual or emergency situations can still get fined unfairly. So yeah, let's look at this a little bit. A police officer was there, or several, monitoring that intersection to see if people and going to stop people who run the red light. So they can speak to those people. Okay, there's a education part of that. Okay, they can educate people, whereas a traffic camera can't do that. So if an officer stops you, they can show some discretion. And if you give them a reason, there could be a really bad family emergency or something that's made you do this, the officer might show some leniency, right? Cameras don't show any leniency. You'll get the ticket. The officer might not give you the ticket. Or the other side of it is, you just did it because you were in a rush. The officer's obviously going to point out to you, it's wrong to do that, right? So you will get the ticket, but at least you'll get some education as to why you shouldn't be doing it. And with the camera, that won't happen. You'll just get the ticket in the mail, right? Fairness and impartiality. Fines can disproportionately hurt lower income drivers, while wealthier drivers just pay and move on, creating inequities. It is true, these fines that automatically go to the owner of the motor vehicle. They don't go to the driver, they go to the owner of the motor vehicle. So the owner of the motor vehicle has to pay. And if you're, not well off, then you still have to come up with the money. You have no choice, right? If you're well off, then you just pay it. Whereas cameras, that you just get the ticket. And you get it in the mail and you have to pay it. You have no choice, right? So that's for fairness and impartiality, right? Number 4, use of police resources. A camera can't pull over a dangerous driver in real time to stop unsafe behavior immediately. And that's very, very true. Camera will just issue the ticket. And as they can pull over a driver, when they pull over a driver, of course, they thoroughly investigate the driver. And if it could be other stuff too, not just a ticket. Maybe the driver's a wanted party, in policing, they always say, a traffic stop is never just a traffic stop, because, all police officers, most of them, will try to do more investigation of the driver, of the car, the plates, what's in the car possibly, is the driver impaired, all that stuff, especially if the driver is impaired or not, So whereas with the camera, you get none of that. You just a ticket and that's it. Public trust and perception, that's number 5. Many residents view cameras as cash grab, eroding trust in local government and policing. And in a way, I can see that point, right? You just get the ticket, and you have no choice but to pay it. Really, the other point here is driving apps or like GPS, whatever, Apple Maps or whatever have you, Waze. A lot of them will show you where the cameras are. Red light cameras at intersections have big signs saying red light camera coming up. People who get caught are people who are absolutely just not paying attention, and they just keep flying, right? And they get the ticket. So it could be viewed just as a cash grab. And also the fact that there really is no education part of it at all, right? You just get the ticket and the money goes to the municipality. Number 6, revenue and reinvestment. Governments may come to rely on fines as a steady revenue stream, prioritizing money over safety. All these apps, they make you slow down when you're approaching them. You'd have to be really stupid to keep flying when your app is telling you, hey, there's a camera ahead, right? So they come to governments. They rely. They just put the cameras there. It gets them the revenue. That's all it is, right? Driver behavior. Number 7. Drivers may only slow down at camera locations and then speed up again, creating inconsistent speed. It's speeds referred to as kangaroo effect. Of course, as I just mentioned, people know that these cameras are coming up. Most people know, so they slow down. And as soon as they pass the cameras, they speed right up, or they run the next red light, because not all intersections have red light cameras. Not all roads have speed cameras, right? So the only time, and this is in my heart, I believe, very true, is the only time people slow down really is when they know that they're coming up to a camera. So people get to know where they are, right? I don't know if it really works or not. Whereas a police officer, if they were doing speed enforcement or red light enforcement or stop sign enforcement, they would change their location every day. They can go to a different location, right? So you just don't know where the police officer is going to be, right? So here, next one is privacy and surveillance again. Expanding the camera network raises concerns about broader surveillance and data misuse in the future. And that's a possibility, I suppose, in this day and age, because you've got companies that collect your data, right? This one's got your, when you get a speeding ticket, they have your license plate, they have who the owner is, because the driver is not the one that gets a ticket, it's the owner that gets a ticket. So data gets collected and it's stored somewhere. So, and possible credit card information, because people can pay online, right? So all that data is there, right? So, and of course, what would help with this, better road design, signage, traffic calming, such as maybe busy, really streets with lots of kids, traffic calming devices, and police presence could improve safety more effectively without automated fines. I definitely think police officers dedicated to just doing these enforcements, whether it's speeding, red light, stop sign, etc., a few more of those, the traffic unit already does that every day, and a few more officers do it, I think would be more effective than just handing out traffic tickets willy-nilly. So these are best argue, if you look at overall, best con against argument against having these is they function like regressive cash grab, and don't necessarily address dangerous driving. It is dangerous driving in itself, but do they really address it? People just pay it sometimes and just move on. What did they learn, right? Other than losing some cash, right? And whereas an officer can educate a person, right? So speed cameras can be used. Yes, they should be used. Yes, red light cameras can be used and should be used, but they should be used selectively in areas that are known for very high collisions. I think where they are really needed are in school zones. All school zones should have speed cameras, because people tend to speed in school zones. The speed limit in school zones is 40 kilometers per hour, and regularly people will go at 60 to 70 kilometers per hour, putting parents and kids at danger. School zones, it's your own kids. Most of these people who are speeding after they drop off their kids. That's a thing, yes. Right? It's pretty ridiculous that it happens, and it happens regularly. We've all seen it. I've seen it. I'm on the road driving, and in a school zone, I'm trying to do 40 kilometers per hour, and somebody's behind me trying to make me go faster. Obviously, they haven't seen the flashing lights. Obviously, they haven't seen the big sign that says community safety zone, fines will be doubled. This is a school zone. So in that area, I think it'd be great to have speed cameras, because there's just so many schools that you can't have an officer at every school, literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of schools. It's not possible to have an officer at every school. So I think in that it would be really handy. And if there's traffic lights near the school, I think that would be a good place to put a red light camera. Because if somebody is running a red light near a school where kids are crossing, that puts these kids at terrible danger, whether it's elementary school, middle school, or high school, doesn't matter. I think so. If there's any intersections near schools, they should have red light cameras. Any roads that are near schools should have speed cameras. Any parks possibly would be a good for speed cameras as well. So I don't think these municipalities willy-nilly just placing cameras everywhere, and it sounds like more and more of these cameras are coming, is the best idea. I think that is a cash grab, and responsibility is also on all of us to slow down. Plan our trips better. Every morning, leave 15 minutes earlier. Don't rush. Don't speed. Speed kills. So that's speeding, right? That's the camera. Red light running is definitely dangerous. Red light cameras. But again, in my opinion, there is a time and place for cameras near schools, all school zones, intersections that are near schools, but not on all intersections across the city and not on all roads across the city. I think the police department is more than capable of doing that job. If you agree with what I have said about the speed cameras and the red light cameras in the comments, let me know in the comments. If you don't agree with what I've said, let me know in the comments as well. Please like, subscribe, and share. It doesn't cost you anything. I'm not hiding behind a paywall. I don't have any product placements, just me, so it helps me out. So like, subscribe, and share with your friends, and that helps me a lot. I hope you enjoyed this topic, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.